Season 2 at Preston, we're looking to finish higher than the 11th place we got last season. Especially since this season the Liga format has gone from 20 teams to 18, so an 11th place finish would put us in the bottom half of the table. With the transfer market open in the summer, I look to bring in some reinforcements to make sure we get that higher finish this season. The first signing I made was Neto Borges from relegated Clermont for $350,000, rising to $450,000 in future add-ons. I also brought in 2 players out of contract at their London clubs. Both Arsenal's Tyrese John Jules and Chelsea's Dujon Sterling came in
for free!
A week later, we saw the departures of winger Romain Del Castillo to Saint-Etienne for $4.5 million, as well as left-back Jere Urenin to Antwerp for $650,000. Finally, we got 2 loan deals over the line before our first league match. One of them was incoming, with promising centre-back Isaac Toure joining from Marseille with a $1.9 million option to buy later. The other was outgoing, with winger Franck Honorat going out on loan to 2nd Division Strasbourg for the season. Now you might be wondering, Guillotine, why did you loan out your best winger, especially when you only have 2 of them? Well, actually, we have 3. After Karamoko Dembele returned from his loan spell at Dijon last season, I made the decision to give him more game time, and so one of Honorat or Jeremy Ledoiron needed to leave. Ledoiron proved his worth at the tail end of the previous season, so we let him stick around. We started life this season with our first match against Lorient in the league. One of last season's top players for us, Nuno Moreira, scored first, and Pierre Lees-Melou doubled our lead just before half-time. Lorient's Bamba Dieng scored late on to give us a scare, but we pulled out a 2-1 victory. 3 days after that match, we brought in our 5th signing of the season. 6'4" attacking midfielder/winger Kevin Castro came in to provide cover, but he'd spend most of the season developing in the reserves. Lyon came next in the league, and our record against them speaks for itself. Despite that, we went in at our Stade Francis Leblay and smashed them 3-0, coming away with all 3 points. A draw at Lens followed, and for the second successive season, we didn't lose any of our opening 3 matches. As the transfer window neared its close, we tried to get as much business done as possible, bringing in Algerian Mohamed Tougai from the Tunisian league, as well as Nigerian wonderkid Gift Orban from Ghent on loan. Deadline day saw some outs for the club as well, the largest of which was centre-back Ashraf Dari to Troyes for $3 million. We also sent Christophe Herrel on loan to Auxerre for the year, leaving us with 4 centre-backs, Nagalo, Toure, Chardonnay, and Tougai for this season. September was a rough month. We played 4 games, losing twice and drawing once. The only upside was our massive 5-0 win over Wilstil's Reims, where Ruzek was the scorer of 3 of the goals as he grabbed his first hat-trick of his Brest career. José Bordalas's Nice came next as our first league game of October. With us in 9th and them in 6th, it would probably be a tough game. Ruzek scored to give us the early lead. Even better still, Alex Sandro, who joined Nice on a free transfer from Juventus, got himself sent off in the 38th minute. We were flying high until Tara Moffi brought Nice level, and in the dying moments of the game, Calvin Stengs scored Nice's winner as they came away 2-1 victors. Auxerre a week later was a snooze fest, finishing with a 0-0 draw, and Nantes proved to be a non-challenge as we beat their 10 men 3-1. Troyes, though? Well, we thought we had a winner in the 86th minute with Ruzek's penalty, but Xavier Chevalerin snatched away our 3 points with an equalizer in the first minute of stoppage time. PSG is always a difficult game, and with their additions in the summer, it was going to be even harder. Even their head coach was in on the joke when he commented on our financial restrictions. Thanks, mate, but we can't all have an entire country backing our club. Anyway, we're probably going to lose this one. And I was right. Sochaux would prove to be our only easy match in November when we beat them 2-1. After his 2-goal performance in that game, fans were calling for us to activate Gift Orban's $3.1 million buyout clause, but with our finances in the red, I couldn't really afford to do it. Wissam Ben Yedder put us to bed in the next league game as we left with a 2-0 loss to Monaco.
Bonjour, you f***ing Can you please retire from football?
Sitting now in 10th place around the halfway point of the season, we needed to get quite a few points from our next few matches to push higher up the table. Let's see here real quick. Montpellier, Marseille, and Rennes next. That doesn't look too bad. I think we could probably get 4 points out of these games.
Bruh.
1 point? Oh, and we get killed 4-0 by Rennes. Lovely. Winless in 4 games, I made my second mid-season formation change to this. We struggled to score goals, so now we're going to throw the kitchen sink at our opponents in order to outscore them. The first match we played with this new formation was against 4th Division Colomiers in the French Cup 9th round. and it worked exactly as intended, outscoring them 4-2 to take us into the next cup game. Let's take a look at the draw for that, and
man, the first time was so nice, I had to do it twice.
Immediately following our French Cup loss, we played Lyon again, but this time we stomped them 4-1. This was to be the first nail in Lyon manager Laurent Blanc's coffin, as less than a month later he'd be sacked. So now we should take this momentum into our next match against Lens and win, right? Even substitute debutant Albert Valle lost his head and got himself sent off, which earned him an Alex Ferguson-style talking to.
You've got to f***ing die to get 3 points!
Fortunately for us, though, we got our squad fired up and went unbeaten in our next 5 games, including a perfect February where we beat Reims, Havre C, and Toulouse before taking on Nice and beating them as well. This catapulted us into European contention, just 6 points behind the Europa League places. We ran into a wall in our next 2 matches though, losing both to Auxerre and Nantes. The latter match was the last time we played our backup goalkeeper, as he dropped stinker after stinker every time he stepped onto the pitch. The Nantes match was no different.
That is a foul! Little
The Troyes match, thankfully, gave us another 3 points in our push for a top-half finish. It was close, but ultimately Gift Orban's goal of the month was the decider in a 3-2 showing. In order to get a better youth intake this season, I set about hiring a new head of youth development in the previous July, and somehow got our cheat board to upgrade our youth recruitment. So did this pay off? No. Not at all. It was actually the same situation as last year, as we only had 2 players worth signing. First was Teddy Godin, a left-sided winger with bags of pace and flair for his age. And second was 15-year-old Mahmoudou Koulibaly, who can play anywhere across the defensive line. As we've come to expect by now, PSG absolutely thrashed us 3-0 at the Parc des Princes. But with our previous results, we now sat in 8th spot, level on points with the team who occupied the Conference League position, Marseille. The thing that was less expected was a loss to Sochaux in our next game.
Who in the blue hell are you?
Even more odd still was our win over Monaco in the next match. In our final match of April, we faced off against Montpellier and took a 2-0 lead after the 56th minute, but 2 goals in 4 minutes later on put Montpellier level. Yes, a highlight in the 6th minute of stoppage time. Penalty! A pressure penalty in the 96th minute. Can Ruzek put it away?
He's bloody missed it! What a prat!
With that draw, we need to win all 3 of our remaining matches in order to even challenge for European football, which is exactly why we went and lost our next match against Marseille.
I prefer really not to speak.
Thankfully, we did go and win our final 2 matches 2-0 away to Rennes and 4-1 at home to rivals Lorient. That win actually kept us in 10th, 1 place ahead of Lorient. The fans will be happy about that one. Only one of our players managed to hit double digits in goals. He even managed to finish as 3rd top goal scorer in the league this season. We also got a little more in prize money this season for finishing in a higher league position. So why don't we check our budgets again?